You know, I love an origin story. And did any of you think that this movie was going to be this damn good?
Covenant, calling Raven.
Payback time.
Come with me if you want to live. You just don't turn it off!
A substance designed to help the brain repair itself gives advanced intelligence to a chimpanzee who leads an ape uprising. What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the channel. My name is Jason, and you're watching Backtrack Cinema, where we talk movies of the past that you know and love. And we are here for a review of Rise of the Apes. We're finally, guys, at the new trilogy. Rise, Dawn, and War. We're going to wrap these up, and then we're going to get ready for our road to Kingdom of the Apes, which I'm getting more excited about every time I talk about one of these movies. And you all got to tell me, did you think Rise of the Apes was going to be this good? I'll tell you right now, I love this movie. I absolutely love this movie. I love a good origin story. I love how much homage and respect they give to the original Planet of the Apes and the original franchise. I mean, this was really well cast, this movie. It came out of nowhere when we thought, well, do we really need another Planet of the Apes film? I think that's what everyone was feeling. I was always excited. You give me another Planet of the Apes film at any time, I'm going to get excited. I just love this franchise, but for it to be this good, not in a million years, man. I think a lot of us felt that way. So Rise of the Apes was released in 2011, directed by Rupert Wyatt and starring Andy Serkis, James Franco, Freida, Pinto, and John Lithgow. Now, where you're going to watch this movie, you know, it starts to center around James Franco, a scientist who's trying to cure Alzheimer's because his dad has Alzheimer's, and John Lithgow, and their relationship is really well done, performances and everything. But then you watch this, you know, this is about Caesar. This is about this ape who leads this uprising, who becomes intelligent and all that. And then that he's the main character of this whole thing, of the whole trilogy, really. And I love a good origin story, man. You know, whether it's talking Batman Begins, Casino Royale, this is such a good origin story. By taking that original movie, Planet of the Apes, well, how did this all start? What scenario must have happened? And I love that. I love the motives for James Franco's character because his dad is suffering from Alzheimer's. This is something, you know, a lot of us, I think, can relate to, you know, trying to make this vaccine that could cure his father, and what it ends up doing, you know, injecting this into a chimpanzee who was brought in. She was pregnant and then passed it along to this little baby chimpanzee, which James Franco takes home, adopts, raises, and who we come to know as Caesar. I like the little homages to Planet of the Apes too. Like the opening scene to this movie, you know, is them capturing and everything apes in the jungle and the wild and stuff, and bringing them into the labs. But it's really reminiscent of when Charlton Heston gets trapped in the nets and everything. You can see how it's really paying homage to that. You can see Caesar playing with a little Statue of Liberty toy, right? They're giving a little homage to the original movie there. We see a newspaper of the astronauts lost in space. So, like, you know, the Charlton Heston character, you know, going to space and everything like that. So they're already gone and up there while all this stuff is happening. But then we got Caesar here, the main character to this thing, who it's all about. Andy Serkis, his motion capture acting ability here. Like, he is acting, man. You know what I mean?
No. We're not going home right now.
The CGI and the motion capture is good because of the performance, not the other way around. And Andy Serkis is so good in this movie. I love Caesar in this. We see Caesar as a baby. James Franco adopts him, takes him home, raises him. Then somewhere along the movie, you know, he starts growing up. He starts asking questions because he's so smart, and he almost like an adopted teenager. You know what I mean? Who are my parents? Where do I come from? You know, he asks, "Am I a pet?" And they do such a good job of Caesar asking these questions, you know, discovering who he is. You know, it's self-discovery. Where does he fit in this world? And that is absolutely fantastic. You get a scene where Caesar lashes out and he acts violently, protecting John Lithgow's character. This is what takes him away from James Franco. He ends up being put in like an ape sanctuary with other apes, and then he starts seeing how apes are treated. He sees his own kind, And this is where the uprising, that's what leads to the uprising. This is where he finds his place in the world. And those you know the trilogy, you know Maurice, the orangutan, you know Rocket, the chimpanzee, and Koba. You get to see them all in here. Koba from the lab, um, Rocket from this sanctuary, Maurice from this sanctuary, and he uses this vaccine to make the rest of them smart. And this vaccine is what wipes us out, you know, because it doesn't affect the chimps, it affects humans, you know. And it's at the end of this movie, this post-credit scene where a pilot's infected, and you know you see him flying off, and then how fast that would spread around the world. So you know, our own greed, these scientists' greed for money and everything like that, for developing this thing, is what wipes us completely out. But some of my favorite stuff in this movie is that middle act where he's in this ape sanctuary, where he gains the trust of the apes, where he befriends a gorilla. And you see, you know, you get to see the beginnings, like how gorillas, you know, are the protectors, and they're warlike, and they're fighters, you know what I mean? And how Caesar's a chimpanzee, and he's really, really intelligent, and how they eventually become the scientists like we see in the original movie, and how the orangutans are the wise leaders. You know, and they become the leaders because of their wisdom, and how Maurice is this orangutan who is with the Serkis, so he knows sign language, and that's how he befriends Caesar and everything. And there's heartbreaking moments in the film where Caesar doesn't realize what's going on. He just thinks he's being put in, that James Franco is abandoning him. But he draws that window on the cell, and that ends up being the symbol of Caesar and everything. There's fantastic stuff in this, where you see Caesar kind of become this teenager to this man, how much of a leader he is, and his stature, and how he stands proud, and how he leads these apes into the Muir Woods at the end. That third act is just absolutely incredible. But these themes too of, you know, trying to control things with James Franco, not letting go, not accepting that his father has Alzheimer's and he has to let him go. Themes of animal cruelty through this, when you see the apes in the sanctuary and how they're treated and stuff, and you know how awful we are to animals and stuff like that. And themes of, through Caesar, of discovering who you are and what your purpose is, and how important you are, and what you can do, and the way he makes the apes, you know, the apes smarter, and the way he earns their trust and everything is fantastic. He starts teaching them sign language. And you know, that third act, you know, where the cops and the military, everything, they're trying to keep the apes from going into the woods, is incredible. Great stuff. When they're all trying to cross the San Francisco Bridge, and, you know, Caesar tells the apes to go on top and the bottom. So the apes are underneath going as fast as they can, up top going as fast as they can. You get some great fights with a gorilla against a freaking helicopter where he's protecting Caesar. One moment I love where this horse just comes out of the mist. Such an awesome ending too, you know, where you see Caesar be his own person, where he goes, Caesar is home, and he finally speaks and everything like that. Just developed characters, character arcs completed, you know, nothing unturned really. You know what I mean? Just really great stuff. The only thing I will say about this movie is that out of all three Apes movies, the CGI doesn't hold up like the others do. It's still fine. Believe it's still probably better than half the stuff out there still, but some scenes you notice that you could see that these are CGI apes, right? And another thing is, I found the score not to be very memorable. I found a better score would have drove this movie better. You know what I mean? You know, music is the heartbeat after all, and nothing really was memorable or signature or nothing like that. So I think it could have used a better score to this movie. But other than that, I mean, I thought this movie was just flawless for an origin story. To get us to care about the apes so much, like you care about the apes more than you care about the human beings, right? The humans in this movie. You want to know how you start a trilogy from scratch again, how you reimagine something. This is how you reimagine a franchise, man. Perfect example of how you reimagine something properly. I mean, they just did such a good job of, you know, dotting their I's, crossing their T's. I think it's been the same writers on all three movies and we'll be getting to the other movies, Dawn and War, and and all that kind of stuff. But it just was it's a fabulous movie, man, with just such great character development. It's not full blown. It's more character study with what's going on with Caesar, where he goes from a baby, being raised by this human, and you always got to have that. You always got to have great human characters mixed with the ape characters in this franchise, and just the way they handled it, executed it, everything, I just absolutely loved. So I'm gonna give Rise of the Apes from 2011 a B plus. Well, what about you guys? Let me know in the comments below what you think of Rise of the Apes. Do you like it? Don't you like it? Let's have a great conversation in those comments, and I'll put other Planet of the Apes reviews up on the end card there. If you're new to the channel, you like the content, subscribe to the channel, like the videos, share them around. Really helps the channel out a lot. Well, I thank you very much for joining me on this review, guys. My name is Jason. You're watching Backtrack Cinema. I'll see you next time, and I will see you in the movies. Cheers.